Good morning, Buffalo. You're listening to the Buffalo You Up podcast, and I would be your host / your radio personality for this evening. My name is Brian DudeMan. You can call me DudeMan. If you call me Brian, I will not respond back. I will just stay silent for the whole thing. So if you want to hear my voice, don't call me Brian. All right, so let's introduce our other hosts.
My multiple personalities coming to you here are Airy Nikohl, short for Aaron, or just Airy, or just Nikki, as known from the web series. But simply don't call me Nicole, please. Okay, thanks.
I could give you my full name, but I have a few outstanding warrants for a few counties in New York State, so I'm not going to do that. You can just call me Kyle S., which would be the same Kyle S. from the Inside Sexual Revolution discography, i.e. Kyle S. title.
And so I'm going to introduce our first episode by introducing all of us. So I'm going to show you guys kind of like what I'm expecting. So my name is Brian Zabricki. I just go by DudeMan again. But so my titles would be I am a writer. I do direct. I'm an amateur director. I'm not like a huge director. I do edit. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm trying to think of other things. I am a PA. I have gripped before. Those are some of the things that I have done. I think I've graphed before too. I don't really know. Yeah, those are my titles though. Writer, director, editor, mostly.
Goodness. Well, I have a degree in theater, so first and foremost, I'm an actor. I've been acting for 15 years now on stage and on camera. I do prefer the stage, a little more excitement there. Live performances, you're always on your toes, just like this podcast. I also model. I do runway, print, and art modeling. I run 3 of my own businesses, one in in-home pet care, one in home and office cleaning and organizing. I have been hired by the Erie County Democratic Committee to help them with their office. And I also run a business in direct sales, Pure Mints by Airy Nikohl. For all of your needs, we have something for everyone. Check out the website. When I'm not working my business, I'm also having fun promoting other businesses as a brand ambassador. So you can see me all around different towns. I travel a lot, handing out some freebies and promoting products from other companies as well as my own. And for fun, I like to run screening room trivia over at the screening room with my friends. We show a movie that you've probably seen before, but definitely worth watching again. And we play some trivia games, and there are some awesome prizes to be won. So you come along and play trivia with us and goof off and have some fun.
I have no merit in film, modeling, photography, or anything. I like to write stories. I have a Facebook page that is called the North Jupiter Inlet. It's where you can find all my stories on my blog. Stories usually consist of anything from hiking the high peaks in the Adirondacks to running around in airports or being stranded out in the Anza Borrego Desert, Southern California. The first story you'll find on there is about an encounter I had with a skinwalker in Arizona, which is terrifying. But other than that, I've known Brian since high school. We took journalism together. I went to UB for communications. I like to go sailing. I'm currently available for all the women that are probably watching this and listening to this, although it's probably not going to work out. That's okay. And, yeah, I would say that's...
So for this next segment, it's called Meet Our Guest. So I'm just going to ask you guys 20 questions, 10 per each, and we're going to see how you guys do. So, Airy, you first. TV show or movie?
I would rather watch something that I know somebody is in. I don't watch a lot of TV or movies. I don't have a lot of time. So when I do, I usually put on something that one of my friends has either filmed or starred in or had some part of in some way. I prefer to, watch what the people I know are making, because I often don't get a chance to. So when I do have the chance to watch television or movies, it's always something local.
Okay, so the second question is, so I've I'm trying to word this correctly. So I've interacted with two different types of people when it comes to music. So when it comes to listening to a band, are you a singles person where you just like listen to a band singles, like, you know, Queens of the Stone Age, like no one knows? Or are you more of like an album person, like, you know, like Pink Floyd, like Animals and Wish You Were Here? Like, you know, like I can listen to that album all the way through. So I'm an album person personally, but I want to know, where do you stand on that? Are you more of a singles person or more of an album person?
Well, you did mention a really good song, No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age is one of my favorite ones to sing for karaoke. But when it comes down to an album, like it's specific albums that are supposed to be listened in their entirety versus some songs that sound well on their own. And I feel like both of these questions need to be answered by Kyle too, because I'm put on the spot here, and I don't think that's very fair.
Yeah, I figured it was 10 to you.
10 to you and
10
then 10 to him.
I want to
chime
hear.
in.
I want to know
would
what
totally
he.
chime in. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Album or single?
Well, you said Pink Floyd, so obviously
Yeah.
album would take that. Definitely.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in general, that was more of like an example. Like,
No, I would album.
yeah,
Definitely
like I said,
album.
album. And you're kind of both, Airy?
Depending on.
The artist?
Yes, it
Yeah, okay.
depends on the artist and the album. He didn't answer the other question.
TV
This-
show.
TV
I would
show?
watch a TV show.
So third one then, Mac or PC?
I use PC.
Okay. I think PC has better storage. Like I can store a lot more on that. I can store all of my iTunes music on that, but I can't store all of my iTunes music on that. That's more for like my editing and for like doing this podcast.
Macs are backwards.
Yeah. So it's better to have something that like that's more for editing. That's more for like music. So like storage. So.
I understand where Macs have their, you know. Yes, I see where Macs can rise over PCs in certain areas, but I prefer to use the PC.
I agreed with you. I said PC.
If we're gonna do sports teams, because remember we are Buffalo U Up. Football, hockey, or baseball? Are you a Bills fan, a Sabres fan, or what do we have like the like? Yeah, Bison. So what would you say you're like the most?
Well, I have helped promote some Bison's games with the Superhero Alliance and Terra Technologies Zombies for Charity. So I have done some charity Bison's games. I've also done Lego Let's Play Weekend at the Bison's fields. So I have done some specific Bison's related events. Personally, if I am going to watch a sport, it would be hockey. The Sabres is definitely the best team that Buffalo has of the three that you've mentioned. But I really don't sports because people who do sports don't say they don't sports.
I've been to, and I will continue to go to Bison's games. I would like if we had a major league team around here. I mean, Toronto's only 2 hours away, so you can always go see a Blue Jays game. Sabres, I do go to Sabres games. I'm just within the last couple of years actually getting into hockey. I mean, when we used to go when we were younger, that was just an excuse to get drunk, but I actually enjoy going to the game. And football, I'm not a Bills fan. I'm reminded that I'm not a Bills fan by all the diehard Bills fans that I associate with, and they hate
Why are they so diehard?
they hate my guts for it.
Not like the team is any good.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I made a decision when I was 13 years old to follow the Baltimore Ravens, and no one can accept that. They just hate my guts for it. So I will go to Bills games, though.
Family in Baltimore?
I can tell you the story. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have time, man.
Okay, so when I was 13 years old, believe it or not, I was still under the impression that Santa Claus was around. I know, hard to believe. So it's Christmas Eve. The Baltimore Ravens are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sunday Night Football. My dad came downstairs. I was on the couch. He's like, "Oh, if you don't go to bed, Santa Claus is not going to give you your presents." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, all right, I'll see what I can do there." So I went upstairs, and then I covertly snuck back downstairs, and I watched the end of the game. And for the final 14 and a half minutes of the fourth quarter, Jerome Bettis was running all over the Ravens. And I was like, I hate this yellow and black team. They're just a bunch of jerks. And then the Ravens got this turnover with like 27 seconds, kicked a field goal, won it. And ironically enough, the quarterback's name was Kyle Bowler. And it was at that point, it was Christmas at that point because it was like 12:05 that I jumped on the wagon. And I've never looked back. I support the Bills. And I tell people you can't make purple without red and blue. But that usually flies right over their heads because, no offense, they're Bills fans. So, yeah, I get a lot of flack for that, but I'm very loyal to my team. But when the Bills win the Super Bowl, I will tell you this right now. When the Bills win the Super Bowl, you can bet I will be on Elmwood Avenue at that Super Bowl parade. And if you want to kick my ass, go for it. I will happily accept it.
That's where you say if, not when.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, a word from our sponsors. Question 5. Would you rather go to a movie theater and watch a movie for one of your friends or watch a play, a theater, with one of your friends? I know you kind of already answered that when you said theater, but I mean, this is not you performing. This is you watching.
Live play all the way. If I'm going to watch a movie, I'd rather watch it at home and not surrounded by strangers. But if I'm going to watch something live, I mean, you can't get that kind of a performance at home.
I would say live show only for specific things like Jesus Christ Superstar, Andrew Lloyd Webber, The Phantom of the Opera. Like, I would go and see that. You don't want to watch those movies. Sweeney Todd, I would see that. The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Or like Shakespeare.
All the film sets you've done, because you're, like a writer, a director.
I don't direct.
Well, if you're going to, though.
Can,
right. What position would you say you would want to take? Like, what do you feel the most comfortable with?
I'm an actor. That's what I went to school for. Okay. I do write. I do. I probably started writing around the same time I started acting. But when I first started writing, I wrote a lot of poetry and music. I didn't actually start writing scripts until maybe 15. So my writing does go back for a while. But currently the script I'm working on is going to be the first one that'll be actually made into film.
Kyle.
If I knew how to direct, I would say direct it. But since I write, I would say write, because every new thing I do is like a little project, and I can't, I don't have since I'm writing it, I don't have anybody else kind of filtering in ideas, and I can create it the way that I see it in my head, which is both scary and fulfilling at the same time. But writing, absolutely.
Airy, you're stranded on a desert island. Are you with me so far?
No, I'm not with you. I'm stranded on a desert island.
There we go. That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for right there.
She got it. So,
Already in character.
You can only bring one thing with you from Buffalo. What would it be?
Well, he is a Buffalo item since that's where I got him. My kitty cat Galileo is going to be with me in my bag, because if I'm stranded, but I'm stranded with my baby, it's all right.
A can of Loganberry.
Nice.
Just one can. So I could sit on the beach and drink
That's
it.
really all you need eventually.
That's all you need. I mean, I would Tom Hanks the hell out of that island. I'm just going to say that. Castaway would become my life. I would get off the island in like 5.5 years and go and find Helen Hunt. And then she'd be like, I married the dentist. And I'd be like, what a bummer. Not that I've seen that movie at least 2 dozen times, but I'm just saying,
That's okay. At least you have Wilson.
Exactly. See? Well, the Loganberry can. I'm sure I can name him Logan. There we go.
Nice. Sorry to interrupt you.
Logan, last name Berry.
So for mine, because I'm a fat boy, I'm gonna go with a restaurant in Buffalo. So I'm gonna go with a double order of Duff's chicken wings.
Yeah.
Because I can carry it in my book bag, because they do have those carry-out bags, and they actually have it in a brown, so I can actually have it in my book bag. So it would be that's usually sometimes on my birthday though. That's like my special birthday, my special birthday dinner. Your favorite Buffalo local band performance you've been to?
Well, technically they're from Rochester, but it was in Buffalo where I first saw them perform. So now known as Joywave. They were originally the Hoodies.
I love Joywave.
I did get to see them as Joywave recently at the Harvest Festival, but I have been buds with them way back since their Joywave days, and when the Icon was still open, when the Hoodies played at the Icon in Buffalo, was one of the best local band shows that I have seen. And when I saw them there, I knew that day that as long as they kept up with what they were doing, that they would make it.
I was going to say on Halloween I went to Thin Man Brewery on Elmwood and I saw a band called The Plagiarists, and they actually had a bunch of they did a lot of covers, which was pretty nice. And I was dressed up as Andy Warhol and they gave me a shout out. That was it was pretty. It was probably like it was like the best. Yeah, it was like the best Halloween costume I've ever had. But I would say that. No, I was just I can show you a picture. But that would they were pretty good. I would just say that Nietzsche's on Allen. They used to do at least. I was just down there like a month ago. They do jazz on Sunday nights at like 10, but I don't know the name of the bands. I just go and listen to jazz and drink cheap beer. So that's my music input for.
Okay. So it's a tie. I would say since I personally put this show on, I'm gonna include it. The Battle of the Bands that I did 2 years ago, because I had some really good bands on, and I had my lovely assistant Airy do the interview, and that was one of the best, most fun nights I've ever had. Like, I can't thank you enough for doing that. You were there like all day, all night. Like, I'm really privileged and lucky to have you not only as like a friend, but have a personal professional relationship with you too, where we can work together and do stuff like this. Like, I just thank you, Airy, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
The Battle of the Bands was such a blast, and I mean, you know me personally, so you know that at that time I was going through a lot in my actual life, and so being there all day and being able to disconnect from all of the chaos going on in the real world and hang out and have fun and interview bands was definitely where I needed to be that day. It definitely helped me a lot as well, to be there with you all.
Airy, you know I love you. Like, I just gotta say that. Like, I do love you. So
we're a family.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so the bands that were there that night that were really great were I really loved, and these are surprises for me because I only knew like a few of them. So White Wolves was great, Grub was good. This was fantastic. They won. Spoiler. We're gonna. I'm really trying to have this on. I really want to have this on. My brother said he will actually sit with us for that one. He actually said, because he's a bass player and they're both bass players. So yeah, he'll sit with this. He'll sit here with us and actually interview them. So we'll actually have, for that day, we'll have 4. Yeah, we'll have no. Actually, they just have a drum machine for their drummer. So they're only 2 people now, and they have a drum machine.
Oh,
They were a 3-piece band, yeah. But we're gonna have 4 hosts. So we're gonna have you, Airy, Kyle, me, my brother, the hosts, and then we're gonna have Logan and Haley. And so we're gonna interview this at some point. Because my brother's like, I really want to sit down. They're bass players. They're both bass players, and I'm a bass player, so it'd be good to talk about bass kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, definitely do it up. I have no problem with that, no qualms. So the 10th question, since I asked Kyle this, I didn't ask you this, but it's a Buffalo-based question. For a band, popular band, venue, what was your favorite concert, like, all together? Like, not, since I asked you Buffalo band before, but this one's now, like, so we got, let's go through the Buffalo venues. So there is Town Ballroom, there is Art Park, there is Canal Side, there is Darien Lake, there is the First Niagara Center, which was at one point Key Bake Center, but which was at one point HBC Arena.
Yes, the best way I could answer this question is by the most recent shows that I've seen live and what I've enjoyed most. So Riverworks, back in 2017, they did the Harvest Festival. So that was Phoenix from France for their first time. The Glorious Sons were there. Silver Sun Pickups. Manchester Orchestra, one of my favorite bands of all time. I've always wanted to see live. Seeing them live was super impressive. Joywave was there. So Riverworks, I really liked that venue, and the Harvest Festival was an amazing festival. It was a concert to where when I heard it was happening, I wrote it on all my calendars without knowing how I was going to get there. At the time, I was financially strapped because I had just moved, and so I didn't know how I was going to get the ticket. I could not afford it on my own, and it was a surprise that my adoptive father called me up and said, well, for your late birthday present, it was like 6 weeks late, I want to buy you that ticket. So I knew I was going to get to go. I didn't know how I was going to get to go. I just knew it was going to happen. And that was one of the best shows I've been at recently, with a killer lineup at a great venue. I also, you didn't mention, but I like the Rapids Theater in Niagara Falls.
That was everyone, yeah.
Yes, the Rapids Theater in Niagara Falls is a beautiful venue, beautiful indoors. And I just was there for the Passion Pit Manor's 10-year anniversary tour. I got to see Passion Pit 10 years ago when they were there at Rapids. So getting to see them 10 years later at the same venue was a really awesome experience as well, and they did not disappoint. Such a great live show.
So mine is a tie. I would say it is a tie between Riot Fest 2 years ago at Canada, because this was the lineup, okay? So they had 4 different stages. So at every minute there's another band playing. So when one band was done playing, you would see another band play, and then another band play, and then another band play. And I had VIP, so I was able to see everything and be up close. So this was the lineup, okay? And remember, I'm a post-hardcore guy. So I saw Thrice. I saw Alex on Fire for one of their last shows. I saw Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. I saw Courage My Love, who's a Canadian band who I love. I saw Weezer. I saw they performed, I believe it was the Pinkerton album. That was from one side, but I was also on top of a hill. So from the other side, I saw Motorhead at the same time. And that was one of the last performances that Lemmy had before he died. So that was incredible.
That's pretty awesome.
So at the same time, I was able to listen to that. I saw Coheed and Cambria. That was there too. That was my second time, because before then they went to Edgefest. So I saw them twice in one weekend. I think Eagles of Death Metal might have been there. I don't know if I saw them though, but that is Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, who has another project. He's got 3 at least. He's also in Them Cricket Vultures, but he's also in Eagles of Death Metal. Guar was gonna be there, but it rained earlier that day, so they had to cancel. And that was a 3-day festival, but I just went for the 1 day, and there is a tons of other great bands that I'm missing, but that's one of my favorite all-time concerts, because again, that was like me experiencing Thrice and Alex on Fire for the first time. I'm a huge post-hardcore fan, so that was like a dream come true. And then my second favorite concert, I think the last one I went to, which was like 2 weeks ago, where it was the Disrupt Festival. So I saw Sleeping with Sirens, Memphis Mayfire, Thrice again. So I saw Thrice 3 times now. So I've seen Thrice times.
Well, it'd be thrice.
Right.
You don't say thrice times. It's just thrice.
Thrice.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other bands. The Used was there. First time seeing them. They were really good. I think they're also a Buffalo-based band. I think other bands are there. Atreyu was there. They were really good. And Circle Survive. They were the best show that night. They actually topped Thrice. So that was an incredible feat. First time really seeing them live. And if you haven't seen Circle Survive, I recommend going to that. And that was at Syracuse. So that was a great show. So that was my 10 questions. Okay, so now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. Here's a word from our sponsor. So we are just doing part 1 of Get to Know our hosts. I hope you guys have enjoyed what you've listened to so far. We're going to do a part 2, hopefully soon. I'm going to ask you guys your favorite bands and your favorite directors and those favorite movies and those kind of questions like that. So guys, please do your research, find some bands you like, that kind of stuff. So you guys can be ready in a few weeks or next week when I ask you guys that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. This has been the Buffalo U Up podcast. I have been your third unofficial host, Brian DudeMan Zabricki, just DudeMan.
I hope you're up. Clearly, I'm not going to be up for much longer. This is about the end of this podcast here. And I'm Airy Nikohl. Airy, but not Nicole.
And I'm Kyle. Kyle S. For the sheriffs that are listening to this on their dispatch, Voxer Radio. No, I did not commit that crime in Cattaraugus County. I'm an innocent man. So until next time, or next week, rather.
This has been the Buffalo U Up podcast. In Buffalo, we just have one question for you.
Are you up?
Because I am.
And this has been the Buffalo U Up podcast.